Oh, we are so back. Oh. Okay, so this weekend saw the return of the Premier League, which meant that thousands of fans up and down the country were going to the games, having a couple of, but what do we like to do after the games? I know what I like to do, which is go for a cheeky kebab and maybe some chips as well. So I kind of thought, in honor of the return of the Premier League, let's have a go at that. So I saw this online, I saw many people doing this, and the recipe didn't seem that complicated. So I thought I'd have a go myself. Now, just between me and you, I have done this before. So if this doesn't go well, oh God. But hopefully, fingers crossed it won't. Now, what you're gonna need is your meat, some onions, some paprika, some cumin, salt, pepper, Greek yogurt, and you gotta mix that all together. Now we'll get into that. But what I've got here, first of all, is my onions that I've already prepared. Now, I've shown you in previous videos before me cutting this, and I can't be bothered for that. But what I'm gonna do is show you this time, because the first of all you gotta do is you gotta grate your onions. Now, this is to give the meat some moisture. So what we're gonna do is grate some onions. Now, I've got 2 onions here, and that's because the recipe sort of said to do 400 grams or 500 grams of your meat. I'm using lamb today. I've got 800 grams of minced lamb. Now that's because I've got people coming over later. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double everything that you're supposed to use. So if you're making this for yourself, or maybe just you and your mates, depending on how many people there are, you might wanna half what I've done. Okay, if that makes sense with the maths. I'm grating the onions. I think what we should do is talk about the game that kicked off the return of the Premier League this season, which was Arsenal, the champions, versus Coventry City making their return to the Premier League after 25 years. I've got nothing against Arsenal. I'm not in the Coventry fan base, or I'm not a Coventry supporter. But I kind of wanted them to pull off an upset just for, I don't know, just for the thrill of it. And as we all kind of know by now, that is just not how it turned out. I mean, I thought Coventry did well to start off with. They had a couple of chances. They clearly weren't coming to park the bus. But then I think Arsenal just showed their quality and the reason why they are champions. The Coventry defender dilly-dallied on the ball, and then all of a sudden it ends up to the Arsenal player and it ends up in the back of the net. Sorry, I can't really remember all the players' names because my eyes are going. Oh my God, it's the onions. Trust me, it's the onions. It's nothing else. It's nothing to do with Coventry losing. It's just the onions. So yeah, very brief chat on Arsenal Coventry. It didn't go Coventry's way. Arsenal just too strong for them. Well done, job done. Job done for Mikel Arteta, first 3 points of the season. Oh my God, oh my God. I thought if you chop off the ends of the onions and the top and the end, it stops you from crying, but clearly not. First, God, this usually doesn't happen to me. First game, Arsenal win, Coventry lose. Next up for Arsenal, Villa. After signing Ezri Konsa, he goes back to his former club. Bloody hell. And Coventry, Hull City, next up for them, who are the next team we're going to talk about because they pulled off probably the win of the weekend. Sorry. Oh God, what on earth? Why do we cook with things that do this to us? That, look at me, I've just completely lost it. I don't want to. I've washed my hands, by the way. Okay, so it's all grated. You can see that there's liquid. Look at that. There's liquid on. I don't know if you can see that. There's liquid on the plate. A lot of onion there. What I'm going to do is. Oh God. What I'm going to do is just put this to the side because it's time to get the meat. And this is an empty bowl. Right. The meat. So just going to cut this open. So what I'm gonna do is just chuck the onion into this bowl with the meat. go. And I briefly mentioned them beforehand, but the next team, or next game we're going to talk about is Hull City versus Manchester United. Now, I think you can probably tell from the shirt that's over here on my left-hand side who I support. I'm not going to hide it. I'm a massive Liverpool fan. So it is fun to see when United don't do very well or lose. And I'm just going to say it. You got mauled by the Tigers, didn't you? Look at this. They were all doing this, weren't they? Whatever this is. Got mauled by the Tigers. So many people were tipping Man United to be title challengers for Arsenal. And then the first game of the season, they got mauled by the Tigers. And it wasn't even close. Like, I was watching it and Hull were just all over them. I don't know what it was with Man United, whether it's just early season jitters or, you know, Michael Carrick still getting used to his team. I mean, there was one interview with Tielemans that he did with Rio Ferdinand, I think, and he talks about how they don't really do any running, which is very surprising. I think it was literally just a case of, like, with Hull being physical, being fast, being aggressive, and United just couldn't handle it. What we're gonna do is now just add the next bit to the recipe. So I'm gonna do 2 spoons of olive oil, 2 spoons of Greek yogurt, 2 spoons of salt and pepper, tablespoons of course, and then also 2 spoons of cumin, and then 4 spoons of paprika. And I've also got, just so I don't drop this gyros mix. Now this came from my sister because she went on holiday to Santorini. She came back with all these spices and stuff like that. So I thought, I'm just gonna whack it in. I mean, it does look, I mean, I don't know how they got this past customs. It clearly is legal. Right, now that that is all in there, all the spices, all the salt and the pepper, the onions, I'm gonna add in the 2 tablespoons and the Greek yogurt. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Uno. Dos. Okay, now it's mixing time. So as you probably can tell, I'm not going to be able to go through every single game. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Right, okay, we need to talk about Tottenham. Now, come with me. We're gonna have to sit down for this. Very close up here. Sorry about this. Let me just turn that on there so we get a better angle. Okay, so Tottenham, you spent nearly £300 million this window. That's because today you've announced Savinho. You've also got potentially Cody Gakpo on his way. I don't know if he will be. And also maybe Marmoush. Now, Brentford is never the easiest places to go to. Keith Andrews has done a fantastic job at, sorry, I keep having to try and focus this. There we go. Keith Andrews done an absolute fantastic job at Brentford. I thought you were gonna do really well with that midfield of Tonali. I know Mateus Fernandes came on in the second half and also James Maddison, but my God, you got absolutely destroyed. That midfielder, Sangare, everyone slept on. What was it, under £40 million? Team of the season in France last season. I think he was in the top 3 of midfielders. Why did no one else take a punt on him? Tottenham has spent like nearly £100 million on Tonali, again, and nearly £100 million on Fernandes. I know this is probably Premier League ready, but this guy was just waiting there for anyone to pick up. He goes to Brentford and absolutely has a stormer in his first game. And now clearly he's going to be one of these people that are going to go next season for about £100 million to I don't know, Big Six club or even one in Europe. But yeah, much more work for Tottenham to do. You need to start being Spursy. Good chat. Now we're going to move on to the chips. Now I'm going to try and do a magical transition here where when I pick up this, that was pretty cool, pick up this peeler, they're all going to be peeled when I just go, there we go. Right, now what we're going to do is I'm going to chop them up into little chippies And again, I'm gonna do it with one of those fancy transitions. And these potatoes are gonna turn into chippies in 3, 2. There we go. Chippies are done. Now these are all done, what I'm gonna have to do is put them in some water so it just gets rid of that starch. And then afterwards, drain them and then just dab them down with a clean and dry tea towel so it gets rid of all the wetness. And I'm probably just gonna leave that to the side for a second and then check in on the meat. So what we're gonna do now is I've put the chips away to the side and I'm gonna put the meat onto the parchment paper, as you can see here, and then we're gonna roll it out. Just grab your meat, lay it down, just spread it out a little bit. I'm gonna put a bit more on. Just basically roll it out so it gets all flat. Do you know who else got flattened? That was Aston Villa, Unai Emery's side. Brighton absolutely took them apart. Oh my God, I was watching it and it felt like it wasn't even a contest. Like João Gomez had probably one of the worst debuts I've ever seen for a new club. A bit like Tottenham and Brentford, you know, you kind of thought that the bigger club, they'll do well. Brighton just weren't having any of that. What was it, 4-0 up by 30 something minutes? And then to make it even worse, João Gomez gets sent off for kicking out. And yeah, his afternoon just went from bad to worse. Obviously Villa didn't have key players. They've kind of been gutted a little bit. Ezri Konsa going just a few days before that game. Ollie Watkins seemingly, I don't know if this is true or not, refusing to play. I mean, obviously when Unai Emery was questioned about it before the game, he gave us more meme gold, just silent. It is flattened, as you can see. What you have to do is just roll it up like this. This might have been a bit too thick, but we'll try again and be better for the next one. And then just place it into your pan or your tray. I'm just gonna put it in like that. And then rinse and repeat for we'll probably get 2 more out of this. And then whack it into the oven. The game on Sunday was Manchester City versus Bournemouth. I'm not really gonna go over it that much because Enzo Maresca just won his first game. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is we're gonna fry off our chips now that the kebab is in the oven. And I'm just waiting for the oil to get to temperature. You can see the chips are here. I've got my little ladle. I'm gonna be absolutely terrified of this because I know I'm gonna get some splashback from this. So I don't know whether to wear the oven mitts or just goggles or whatever. But yeah, we're just gonna wait until this gets to right temperature. But then, you know who else was feeling quite hot? Newcastle. All I have to say first of all is it was a fantastic tribute to Kevin Keegan before the game from both Liverpool and Newcastle United fans. It was just brilliant to see, and one that was very telling of the man. He was such a genius and he was such an icon, and yeah, just a fantastic tribute from both teams. But on the pitch, Newcastle were hot from the start, just as this was. Like, they were pressing Liverpool. New manager, just like with Liverpool, new manager, Newcastle, new manager. And of course, they managed to handle it so much better. I have no idea what was going on with the start. I mean, to be fair, Liverpool did start okay, but Newcastle were just hot to the touch, man. Newcastle were just pressing like crazy. It was very much of like an Eddie Howe kind of display where it was sprinting, pressing, and Liverpool just couldn't handle it, could they? You can see that the chips are now bubbling away, and what I'm going to do is I've only put these in here for about 5 to 6 minutes because this is like the first fry, and then you've got to fry them again for the golden crispy brown side. So now that it's been 6 minutes, I'm just going to take them out, just let them drain a bit. You see that? And just put them onto this bit of paper with tissue paper on it, just so that it can just drain off a little bit. And then when I've done the rest of them, I'm going to put these back in, like I said. But like I was talking about, Newcastle, Elanga, it was actually, it was, classic counter-attack from Newcastle. You know, Elanga just absolutely bursting past Kirkes, got no, he couldn't catch him whatsoever, and Kirkes is no slouch as well. So that was 1-0 to Newcastle, and then I'm just going to put the rest of these guys in. I'm going to put them in slowly because I don't want to get burnt with the oil. Yeah, man. Oh! My bad. Newcastle take the lead. What was it? Yeah, Newcastle take the lead. Then Liverpool managed to get themselves back into it thanks to Cody Gakpo just absolutely leathering one in from about 20-25 yards out. You think Liverpool are back into it, they're gonna press on, they were, like Newcastle looked like they were on the ropes a little bit, then all of a sudden, yet again, another counter-attack. And this time, it was Johan Visser who just ran past Szoboszlai, he ran past Wirtz, he ran past the whole of Liverpool's defence, laid it off to Joe Willock. Bearing in mind, Joe Willock hasn't scored, I can't even remember what the fact was, but it's a very, very long time since Joe Willock scored. And this man finished it off like he'd been scoring every single week since time began. 2-1 to Newcastle. Don't really know what's going on with Liverpool's midfield, a bit non-existent. It felt like to me everyone wanted to play the number 10. I don't know if that was by design. Newcastle looked fantastic. All of those pre-season worries about the new manager, you know, players leaving, not having anyone really coming in of stature, but didn't seem to matter because St James's Park is St James's Park, and that's just a tricky place to go to. So the match looked like it was going to be a win for Newcastle, and then in the I think it was 94th minute. People keep saying 99th, and I think that was only 99th when he took the penalty because of the VAR check. For me, it was a penalty. Victor Munoz coming on, and I thought he was brilliant. Rio didn't look very good on the right. He will come better this season. I'm one of the people in the camp of we need a number 6. So now that Sangare's gone, what about Kamara from Monaco? There's still a couple of days left in the window when I'm shooting this. So please, Barcola, Kamara, let's get it done. Look at that steam coming off of it. Steam. Right, so we're pretty much there now. You can see I've played up my chippies. I put some salt and also some vinegar on it to keep it classic. Well, if I move this, but it's a bit too hot. I've cut up a bit of a salad, so I've got some lettuce, tomato, and some onion as well. I'm just gonna whack that into the pitta, but as you can see in front, I'm just gonna use this to pick it up. The meat is done. Now, all you gotta do is just, when that bad boy's ready, just rip off a couple of bits. Oh yeah, that's good. Bit of lettuce. Bit of tomato. Could add one of these pickled chilies or peppers, whatever they are. Now I also got myself some sweet chili sauce. I'm just gonna whack that in there. Oh my God. There we go. Look at that. Kebab. Homemade kebab and chips. Oh yeah. What we're gonna do is we're gonna finish off with the game that finished off the first match week, which is Chelsea versus Fulham, or Fulham versus Chelsea. Now, Alonso versus Arbeloa, former Liverpool players, now managing Fulham and Chelsea. It was actually a fantastic game. I mean, Chelsea taking the lead within like the first couple of minutes through João Pedro. You kind of thought there and then Fulham were just going to get absolutely hammered, just like, you know, Tottenham and Villa. But no, Fulham came back into it, and it was like a basketball game, which was kind of fun. It was a very exciting game to see. But is that a precursor to both teams in the future not being so sure at the back, and this might be what cost them, you know, a higher place in the league? Will this stop Chelsea challenging for the title like so many people keep saying? I don't think they're ready. Well, even so, they still were missing Caicedo, so maybe when he gets back into it, you're going to see a more secure back defence and also midfield as well. But fantastic game. Who knows what Alonso can do next with Chelsea. But yeah, this was my take on a kebab. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I've said before, have a go, try it yourself, see what you think. Let me know what you think about the teams and who's going to do well this season, who's not going to do so well this season. We've got a couple of days left of the transfer window. Who do you think your team's going to buy? I hope my team buys 2 wingers and a midfielder and maybe a right back, but I just don't think that's going to happen. That was the first episode of a Premier League review for Grub and Goals. There'll be more in the future, so see you then.